Saheeli and the Living Energy Precon already take the award for the most slept on precon of 2025. I'm going to share with you why everyone is sleeping on this deck. I'm going to share with you why every last one of them is wrong. And finally, I'm going to go through a set of core budget upgrades and 3 distinct upgrade paths. Let's monkey around.
No matter where I hide, you got me sleep deprived.
The reason for sleep is simple. It's an energy deck. What everyone is missing is that Living Energy offers a premier Timmy experience with next level flexibility in the deck building process. It all starts with the commander Saheeli Radiant Creator. As a 4-mana Teamer 4/4, she grants you 1 energy counter whenever you cast an Artificer or Artifact spell. At the beginning of combat, she can turn 3 of those energy counters into a token copy of any permanent you control. Creature, enchantment, land, it doesn't matter, so long as it's under your control. The copy is also a 5/5 artifact creature with haste, and it's sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step. Opter Spy Network is in the precon, and is a nice entry point into the kind of shenanigans this deck can get up to. First, you copy the enchantment to make it a hasted 5/5 creature. Then, when it deals combat damage to a player, the original and the attacking enchantment will draw you a card, since the Radiant Creator's ability also turns her tokens into artifacts. It's a cute interaction. Druid of Purification, Treasure Vault, and Triplicate Titan are other cards in the precon that do impressive things when copied with Saheeli. Sending 5/5s at people while getting all of that value is enough to win you games against precons. But the real fun starts. No, the Timmy fun starts when upgrading. Threefold Thunderhulk gets you 3 gnomes when it enters the battlefield. The 5/5 token copy you create gets you 8 gnomes when it enters, and then 8 more when it attacks the very same turn. When the token copy of Rampant Rejuvenator dies, you're putting 7 basic lands onto the battlefield. The creature copy of Monkey Cage will enter, and both versions will be sacrificed immediately, netting you 10 total 2/2 green ape creature tokens. I'm telling you, I've been looking for any chance to put Monkey Cage in one of these videos, and boy am I happy in how it turned out. The same goes for Invigorating Hot Spring. The 3-mana enchantment can hand out those 1/1 counters to grant your creatures haste, but copy the enchantment and this chill monkey vibe is swinging in as a 9/9. Some of those are better than the others, but the point is that Saheeli's ability paves the way for massive and funny and unique plays that I want all Timmys to enjoy. As far as the build paths, you first of all need to have sufficient ways to accumulate energy. Generation on the commander helps, but I would set the soft floor at 20 options in the 99, giving you an 80% chance of drawing at least 1 in your opening hand. Now, the flexibility of this deck really shines through in how you decide to use that energy. In the description, there are 3 deck lists, and each one of them has a unique theme to help you win games. But before we get into those, there are some slam dunk budget additions I want to go over first, and you have to hit the subscribe button.
I was Buddy Hill shooting at a pacing as I pull up, dropping buckets.
Izzet Generatorium is an auto-include in any energy deck that has blue and red. Not only does it give you an additional energy on every instance you gain 1 or more, but it also draws you cards. Tap the artifact after you've paid or lost 4 energy, rip 1 off the top. The icing on the cake is that casting this artifact will get you an energy counter through Saheeli as well. I'm not going to keep pointing that out, but stay aware of the additional value artifacts and artificers bring to the deck. Izzet Generatorium is 13 cents. Buried Ruin is a land that taps for 1 colorless mana. The ability lets you sacrifice the land for 2 mana to return a target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. As a one-time ability, this land earns its place in plenty of decks, but Saheeli's ability can target lands. You get that artifact from your graveyard back in your hand without disrupting your total land count. Buried Ruin is about 50 cents. Garruk's Uprising is another example of the wacky things you can do with this deck. Saheeli makes 5/5 creatures, which will trigger the enchantment at the beginning of combat on every turn you choose to pay for that ability, drawing you one card. But what if you copied Garruk's Uprising? The 5/5 creature copy would enter, see itself, and trigger the first ability, drawing you a card. And then the final ability of both versions would trigger, drawing you 2 more cards. I take 3 cards for 3 energy every day of the week. Garruk's Uprising is also about 50 cents. Electrostatic Pummeler is another auto-include with this commander. As a 3-mana 1/1, it gains you 3 energy when it enters the battlefield, which is enough to replace the cost it takes to copy the spell with Saheeli. That's particularly good because you can then pay 3 energy to give the creature +X/+X until the end of the turn, where X is its power. The best part is that this can be done at instant speed. With only a little help, the 1/1 version of this creature can wreak havoc. With a token copy of this creature starting as a 5/5, this will always be one of the most lethal threats on the battlefield. Electrostatic Pummeler is 40 cents. Behemoth of Vault 0 is a 6-mana 6/6 that gets you 4 energy counters when it enters the battlefield. And when the creature dies, you can choose to pay X energy. In return, you can destroy any non-land permanent with a mana value equal to X. Hitting almost every type of permanent makes this substantially more appealing. And of course, its repeatable interaction with Saheeli and enough energy. Behemoth of Vault 0 is 65 cents. The first of the 3 win conditions is through burn. Reckless Fireweaver is found in the Precon, and with the addition of cards like Ingenious Artillerist, Aether Revolt, and Impact Tremors, the token spam already seen in the Precon will convert directly to damage. A really funny line is adding Brutaclad to the deck, copying an Impact Tremors with Saheeli, and then turning all of your tokens into Impact Tremors. I promise you, the game will not last long from there. As to not be reliant only on tokens, creatures like Iron Mastiff, Blaster Hulk, and Cyclops Superconductor can be added to the mix. And if you're willing to cough up a pretty penny, things can get even more interesting. Balor, when attacking or dying, will deal damage to a target opponent equal to the number of cards in their hand. The copy of Giggling Skitterspike can deal 10 damage to each opponent with every attack if you invest 5 mana in the Monstrosity ability. Or how about Heartfire Hero? The original will stack up the +1/+1 counters when targeted, while the copy will explode every turn for 5 damage.
I know, I roll, no drip, this a river, I roll.
The next theme was entirely inspired by the new Aetherdrift spell, River Churn Monument. This 1 and a blue artifact taps for 1 mana to mill any number of target players 2 cards. The real excitement starts with the Exhaust ability. For 2 and 2 blue, you can tap the artifact to have any number of target players each mill cards equal to the number of cards in their graveyard. This goes hard with Saheeli because the copy you create is a new permanent that can be exhausted over and over and over again. But it doesn't take that many turns for this river to churn every card out of your opponent's libraries, especially with some help. Jace's Archivist taps for a single blue to Windfall the table, Windfall being another option to fill up your opponent's graveyards. Magus of the Wheel normally needs to sacrifice himself for the table to draw a new 7. With Saheeli, you can tap and sacrifice the copied creature every turn. Fleet Swallower and Teresian Mindbreaker are top-end creatures that mill a full half of the defending player's library when attacking. Diligent Excavator and Ruin Crab can get the mill train rolling. And as far as artifacts go, Folio of Fancies is another way to pseudo-wheel. And haven't you always wanted to sacrifice Altar of Dementia with Altar of Dementia?
I go do what I need to make it last. best. They say the good die young, hope I'm bad.
The final theme pulls from the Henzi playbook, a favorite of mine, to make the sacrifice of your creatures play even more into your favor. Industrial Advancement is a 4-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a creature, and if you do, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is that creature's mana value. If you happen to find a creature in those cards, you can put it right onto the battlefield. Smelting Vat, Birthing Ritual, and Killer Service offer similar effects. Birthing Pod would also be great. Surprise, surprise. The cool part is that you could even copy the pod and tap it to sacrifice itself to find any 5-mana creature from your deck. I'm generally not a tutor fan, but if you are into it, this is a fun spot for that kind of action. And as far as I'm concerned, Esoteric Duplicator was made for this deck. Whenever you sacrifice the artifact or another artifact, you can pay 2 mana to create a token copy of that artifact at the beginning of the next end step. Saheeli's ability creates artifact token copies, so they are all fair game with the duplicator. Since the copies are doomed to die anyway, creatures like Reform and Metodic Slime will help you repopulate the battlefield. If you want to draw cards or if you want to ramp, Ichor Wellspring and Heaped Harvest get you value when entering and leaving. Stalking Vengeance goes well here, but also has room in the burn deck, dealing damage to a target player or planeswalker when another creature you control kicks the bucket. And finally, Life's Legacy is going to be a 2-mana draw 5, basically every game you play with this deck, and it's hard to beat that kind of rate. Once again, those 3 deck lists are in the description. I don't profess these to be finely tuned instruments of destruction, but more of a way to get your noggins jogging. And the final deck list that you'll see down there is what I'm running in my paper copy of the deck. And using the advice I gave myself from the Muera video, it's using only cards that I already own. But I did want to share with you the direction that I chose to take the deck. I can confirm that one of my pet cards, All-Seeing Arbiter, is found in the list. If you're in the research phase, trying to find out what deck is right for you, or if you're interested in seeing more from the channel, click on the video right over there where I go over the other Aetherdrift Commander Precon, Eternal Might, to see what it could bring to your tables. Thank you all so much for watching, and please take 1 second of your day to subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you liked the video, and I really do want to know what kind of tech you're running in your upgraded versions of the Living Energy Precon.